Okay, so I am completely done sanding my box. I'm going to do step 7. Step 7 is for me to take the bottom of my box and I'm going to attach the actual box to it using screws through the bottom. And I want to make sure it's centered and even without leaving glue or pencil marks where I don't want them. So what I do is I use my box on the bottom to mark it out. I want to make sure I have an even space all the way around and that my box is perfectly square as I'm putting it on. Now I'm going to mark inside and outside just very lightly because I want to put screws into the middle of my sides and ends. Then I need to measure out where all my screws are going to go. And I'm going to put them right in between the two places, perfectly centered. And on the ones that go into the sides, I just measure about 2 inches in from each corner. That way they'll be even. And I need to get them right into the middle of the sides. There, once I have all my screws locations marked, I can come over to the drill press and I'm going to make a pilot hole and countersink. Now with this drill press, like all the other spinning tools, you want to make sure nothing gets caught into it. Keep your fingers a reasonable distance away, and if it's going to have lots of torque or there's a risk, you should use a clamp or some type of jig to hold the lumber in place. I want to make a hole, and then I just want to make a little cone-shaped piece where the screw head is going to sit past flush of my bottom. So this is the underside of my bottom, and I'm going to be turning it on and drilling down just to the right depth to make a nice little cone. So now I'm going to go back and I'm going to make sure I'm happy where they are. Now basically these holes are going to be for screws going in. What I'm going to do is glue my box onto the base, clamp it on, and then after it's dry put my screws in. So I'm just going to very carefully make sure it's where I want it. I'll make some tiny little marks because I won't be able to sand these off.
I might have a bit of glue in there actually.
You see I'm leaving glue on the outside, but I really don't want to leave glue on the inside because I can't sand it away on the inside. So I'm very careful. About where I leave glue and where I don't leave glue. Now that I have it assembled where I want, I'm just going to let it dry before I put the screws on. I can work on my lid or else my handle, and then I'll wait to finish off this step pretty quick. Okay, just remember to wipe all the glue off after you get it assembled before it dries. That way you'll save yourself a lot of sanding. Okay, so after leaving it clamped for about 45 minutes, I'm going to take off my clamps. And then I want to put my screws into the bottom. So I have a countersink into a drill set just to the length of my screw. That way I can make my holes through the bottom into my ends and sides. Just be careful to screw perfectly straight up and down. And now I'm just going to take a Phillips screwdriver, my 1¼ inch drywall screws, and just hand screw all 6 screws in until they're nice and tight and holding it the way I want. Once I get all 6 screws in, I'm going to give another sanding, get off my glue and any pencil marks I left, and I'll work on my handle, and then I'll be ready for finishing.